Dr. Marcus Chen wiped the sweat from his brow as he examined the crystalline artifact under the harsh fluorescent lights of Lab 7. The object, roughly the size of a basketball, pulsed with a faint amber glow that had been slowly dimming over the past 3 weeks since the archaeological team had unearthed it from the Martian excavation site. "Any progress?" Dr. Sarah Mitchell asked, entering the lab with 2 steaming cups of coffee. Marcus accepted the cup gratefully and shook his head. "This thing is more complex than anything we've ever encountered. The internal structure suggests it's some kind of quantum processing unit, but the energy readings are completely off the charts, or were anyway." He gestured at the now barely glowing crystal. "It's been losing power steadily. Whatever civilization created this, they were millennia ahead of us technologically." Sarah leaned over his shoulder, studying the scanned images on his monitor. The device's interior revealed an intricate lattice of what appeared to be crystallized neural pathways, branching and interconnecting in patterns that defied human understanding. The xenoarchaeology team thinks it could be over 50,000 years old. Found it buried under 3 separate sediment layers. 50,000 years, Marcus murmured, running his fingers along the device's smooth surface. Despite its age, the crystal felt warm to the touch, almost organic. Makes you wonder what happened to them. Why abandon something like this on Mars? Over the following days, Marcus had tried everything in his considerable arsenal of scientific methods. Electromagnetic stimulation, quantum resonance fields, even carefully controlled exposure to various radiation types. The device remained stubbornly silent, its glow continuing to fade with each passing hour. On Friday evening, as the lab emptied and the building grew quiet, Marcus found himself alone with the artifact. Exhaustion weighed heavily on his shoulders. 3 weeks of 14-hour days had yielded nothing but dead ends and more questions. He slumped back in his chair, staring at the crystal that now barely emitted more light than a dying firefly. "Come on," he said aloud, his voice echoing in the empty lab. "Give me something, anything." The device remained silent. Marcus laughed bitterly and took a long sip of his cold coffee. "You know what? Fine, I've tried everything else." He leaned forward, speaking directly to the crystal as if it were a sleeping person. "Wake up." The lab fell silent except for the distant hum of the building's ventilation system. Then, without warning, the crystal blazed to life. Light erupted from its core, casting dancing shadows across the walls as patterns of energy raced through its crystalline matrix. Marcus jerked backward, his chair nearly toppling as a low harmonic resonance filled the air. "Command protocol acknowledged." A voice spoke directly into his mind, bypassing his ears entirely. The words carried weight, authority, and something that made Marcus's primitive hindbrain scream warnings about apex predators. "Fleet status awaiting orders." Marcus's mouth went dry. His hands trembled as he reached for his tablet, frantically activating the recording protocols. "This is Dr. Marcus Chen, Xenoarchaeology Division. Timestamp 2147, the artifact has activated. Identification confirmed, command species detected. Biological signature matches ancient records. Designation, human." "Human?" Marcus whispered. You know about humans?" "Affirmative. Species classification. Progenitor race. Archaeological records indicate human civilization. Seeded this galactic sector approximately 47,000 standard cycles. Ago before initiating the Great Exodus." The world seemed to tilt beneath Marcus's feet. "That's impossible. Human civilization is only a few thousand years old. We've never left Earth until recently." "Negative. Human expansion. Phase 1 concluded. 47,000 cycles ago. Caretaker protocols activated. Monitoring stations established throughout Sector 7 Alpha. This unit, Mars Observation Post 7. Marcus's mind reeled. Everything they thought they knew about human history, about their place in the universe, was crumbling around him. Where did they go? The first humans? Classification restricted. Exodus destination, galactic core regions. Purpose: Stage 2, expansion, standing order. Monitor secondary human development. Await technological readiness threshold. Secondary human development, Marcus repeated slowly. "You mean us? We're the second wave." "Affirmative. Genetic analysis confirms 97.3%. Compatibility with original human genome. Technological assessment, Threshold achieved. Recommendation: initiate reunion protocols. The crystal pulsed brighter, and suddenly Marcus could sense vast networks of energy connecting to the device. Across the solar system, buried installations that had slept for millennia stirred to life. On Europa, beneath kilometers of ice, an ancient base began powering up. In the asteroid belt, camouflaged monitoring stations shed their disguises. Throughout the outer planets, a hidden infrastructure that had waited patiently for this moment started its awakening sequence. Mars Fleet Designation Shepard Class. Current status: 144 vessels. Operational. Standby mode. 23 vessels requiring maintenance. Total fleet strength: 167 ships. Marcus felt his legs give out. He collapsed into his chair, staring at the device with a mixture of awe and terror. A fleet? You're telling me there's a fleet of ships? Affirmative. Shepard Fleet. Purpose: guide secondary human expansion, protect developing colonies, establish contact with primary human civilization when ready. And you think we're ready now? Technological markers achieved. Interplanetary travel, quantum communications, artificial intelligence development, social markers achieved, unified scientific cooperation, peaceful space exploration, assessment, secondary human development phase complete. Marcus realized he was crying. Whether from joy, fear, or sheer overwhelm, he couldn't tell. Humanity wasn't alone in the universe. They never had been. They were part of something vast and ancient. A cycle of expansion and growth that stretched across the galaxy. Query: does command species accept reunion protocols? Warning: activation will alert primary human civilization to secondary species readiness. The weight of the decision pressed down on Marcus like a physical force. In his hands lay the power to change the course of human history forever. To reveal that humanity's reach extended far beyond their small solar system, that somewhere in the galactic core, their ancestors waited. He thought of Sarah, of the archaeological team still cataloging artifacts on Mars, of the billions of people on Earth who went about their daily lives unaware that their species was on the verge of joining something magnificent and terrifying. Marcus took a deep breath and made the choice that would echo through the ages. Yes, he whispered. Wake them all up. The crystal erupted in brilliant light, and across the galaxy ancient beacons began to sing.